I'm what you would call a late bloomer, someone who experienced all the cool stuff later rather than sooner. For example, I didn't get my first smartphone until I was 20. I didn't play an M-rated game until I was 17. I didn't own an HDMI cable for anything until I got a PS4 in 2015. You're probably thinking, damn, your life sucks. But the truth is, my life didn't suck. It was just very restricted. I grew up in a traditional household, one that preferred that I stayed outside staring at the sky instead of staying inside staring at a screen. I played video games, but my parents were selective about what I could play and when I could play it. As a kid, I was stuck with a PlayStation 1 while my peers had a PS2 or GameCube. Instead of experiencing all the great games the 6th generation offered, I was stuck endlessly replaying Spyro and Croc. I finally got a PS2 in Christmas 2008, but by then everyone had moved on to the next gen, leaving me with the last gen's table scraps. I didn't make the same mistake twice when I asked for an Xbox 360 for Christmas in 2011, right at the peak of that system's popularity. While I mainly did it to play a certain Alien game I was interested in, I was also excited that I could finally play all the cool Xbox 360 games. The only problem? I was a broke teenager. My only sources of income were from mowing yards or waiting for my birthday to roll around. Even worse, I didn't know about half the titles that were out. I wasn't as internet savvy as I am now, so the only way I knew about a game was if I had read about it in a gaming magazine. Otherwise, I didn't know about it. As a result, I missed out on a ton of great Xbox 360 games. Assassin's Creed? Never played it. Gears of War? Sounds cool, but my parents think violent video games will turn me into a school shooter, so no. Portal? Yeah, I knew about it, but only because the hype was inescapable. Portal began life as a student project called Narvacular Drop. Valve saw it at a DigiPen showcase, hired the people making it, gave them the resources necessary to flesh it out, and to top off this sweet deal, they put it on the greatest compilation ever, the Orange Box. This unassuming game about solving puzzles with portals was a hit, winning everyone with its originality. It spawned a sequel, successful Hollywood careers, LEGO crossovers, and a celebrated legacy. Portal was everywhere, but because I was a dumb teenager who didn't know better, I missed out. Even after finding the Orange Box, I didn't touch Portal until a few months ago. With Portal 2 turning the big 1.5 this year, I finally decided to play Half-Life's well-loved sibling. It only took me 15 years, but hey, look on the bright side. There are worse ways to wait 15 years to play something.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center. We hope your brief detention in the relaxation vault has been a pleasant one.
Portal starts with a woman named Chell awakening from cryo deep within Aperture Science. She's tasked with testing the company's portal gun while guided by GLaDOS, Aperture's AI. Being an AI, GLaDOS is fine and there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. All you have to worry about is solving all the rooms, so you can be bake the cake for your efforts.
Very impressive. Please note that any appearance of danger is merely a device to enhance your testing experience.
Portal's premise is basic, and it doesn't take more than a few brain cells to figure out the game's big twist. I've seen enough sci-fi flicks to know that if you put an AI in charge, it's not going to end well. It didn't work for Cyberdyne, it didn't work for Cybertech, and it didn't work for Aperture. Portal's simple plot is backed by a small cast. Chell and GLaDOS are the only stars of this adventure. Chell is a silent protagonist who, like Gordon Freeman before, acts as an extension of the player. All we know about her is she volunteered for Aperture, either because she's homeless or wanted to make some easy money. Knowing Aperture's history with volunteers, it was likely the former. Chell may be the silent cipher, but GLaDOS is the game's voice. She's what people think of when you mention Portal. She's the classic, unassuming, benevolent AI who turns out to be a very aware and very malevolent AI. At the start, GLaDOS's messages are harmless, doling out essential information and complimenting your performance with the enthusiasm of a telemarketer.
Please note that we have added a consequence for failure. Any contact with the chamber floor will result in an unsatisfactory mark on your official testing record, followed by death. Good luck.
That changes a few test chambers in as her messages become more darkly humorous and sinister. The game drops breadcrumbs that hint at what GLaDOS has done without spelling it out. The biggest clue comes in the form of these crazed scribblings you find tucked away in obscure corners. It's clear someone doesn't want to be seen by GLaDOS, and if the glitched out voice didn't clue you in, these do. Something's gone wrong at Aperture Science. It may not be a botched wormhole experiment, but the lack of human activity might have something to do with her. Portal isn't what I call scary. Portal isn't what I call scary, but the claustrophobic test rooms combined with Glass's increasingly erratic behavior build a sense of eeriness that gets under your skin. While I like Portal 2's absurdist humor, there's a part of me that prefers the first Portal's minimal atmospheric creepiness. Silly British robots are fun and all, but give me more of Glass's subtle backstabbing.
This is your fault. It didn't have to be like this. I'm not kidding now. Turn back, or I will kill you.
I'm shaking in my booties.
Portal is about, well, portals.
No shit.
It's a basic game with easy to understand mechanics that could be beat in a few hours. This sounds less like a classic and more like a $60 turkey. Yet within those few hours, Portal wins you over with its clever gameplay. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The game starts with you completing basic block puzzles to familiarize you with the mechanics. You get the portal gun a few chambers in. How it works is simple. Blue portals are your way in, orange portals are your way out.
Everybody got that?
You'll use the portal gun in tandem with other items to solve puzzles and in turn, unlock the exit to proceed to the next room. Portal is like an onion. No, it doesn't stink, it doesn't make you cry, it has layers. On the surface, it's a puzzle game. The mechanics make sense and the objective is obvious. Do the thing, unlock the exit.
You're doing quite well.
The early test chambers use the device in straightforward ways, like making portals to grab a cube that's on a high ledge or to make an exit when there isn't a visible way out. The game starts doling out new ideas to familiarize yourself with, as well as test chambers that start flexing your noggin. You'll learn to fly like an eagle by combining momentum with portals. Energy spears teach you how to chain portals together to guide said spear into its power plug. The layers are gradually peeled back, revealing a surprisingly challenging and rewarding experience. What's great about Portal's design is how it introduces these ideas, then uses the test chambers to reinforce them. Anytime I found myself unsure of what to do, I remembered what I had learned and applied it to the current situation. Some trial and error later, and I aced the puzzle that previously stumped me. I had quite a few of those aha moments during my playtime, which is great because in a genre that's strictly bang bang bang, playing Portal reminded me that not all first-person titles have to be shoot first, ask questions later. I will say the constant portal jumping and flinging can be a bit nauseating, so if you're someone who gets motion sickness easily, steer clear of Portal.
Now that you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very long time.
If you're going into Portal for the first time, I encourage you not to use a walkthrough. Now I say that as someone who occasionally Googled that sucker for an answer, but for most of my playtime I steered clear of guides because using one felt like I was taking the easy way out. Portal won't make you smarter, but it will make you sit up straight, especially when the answers become less obvious with each new test chamber. It's what makes Portal's first half engaging. The second half is, well, the second half.
You really shouldn't be here. This isn't safe for you.
You know how when people talk about Full Metal Jacket, they'll praise the first half but overlook the second half? Portal has a similar effect. Look online and you'll see thousands of comments talking about how awesome the test chambers are, yet no one talks about the sewers and factories that make up the second half. After avoiding a fiery demise, Shell works her way through apertures insides to reach GLaDOS. The clean, sterile facilities give way to rusty, rundown industrial areas that haven't been touched by a janitor in years. This change in scenery leads to a change in gameplay. It becomes a puzzle platformer as you use the portals to make perilous jumps to high ledges. Instead of wondering how to grab a stray cube, you're wondering how the hell you're going to get through this mess of machinery. Chell becomes a rat in a maze, navigating this confusing labyrinth with the hopes of finding the exit.
I'm going to kill you, and all the cake is gone.
Going into Portal for the first time, this stretch caught me off guard. It felt like everything I'd grown accustomed to was taken away from me and replaced with 50 Shades of Rust. I didn't like this part at first. Then I realized I'm an idiot, and that's the whole point of this part. It's the game's way of taking off the kid gloves and telling the player, solve it yourself. If it had just been endless test chambers, the game would have gotten repetitive. This change in scenery gives the developers new ways to flex the portal mechanics. Now I will say there are some spots that will stump you. Sometimes you'll walk into a room and wonder, how do I get out? Only to realize you must shoot a portal on this stretch of wall. Where I think the game does stumble is its final boss. After everything GLaDOS has done to stop you, either out of fear of you escaping or the fear of the Combine, you reach your master chamber for a final showdown. What follows is a passive-aggressive fight that's incredibly underwhelming. All you do is trick GLaDOS into shooting yourself with her rockets using the portals. Each hit makes an emotion core fall off, which you then grab and dispose of. Rinse and repeat a few more times to beat the game. There is the added danger of nerve gas pouring into the room, but I never felt like I was in immediate danger. I think Portal 2 did a better job by incorporating all the new mechanics like the gel to make it more interesting. The only challenge I had was trying to grab the damn emotion cores.
It also says you were adopted, so that's funny too.
After you defeat GLaDOS and get your cake, you can test your skills via challenge mode. Challenge mode puts you through the test chambers but adds varying parameters like time limits or having to use a limited number of portals. Trust me when I say some of these will make you hit your head against a wall. If challenge mode is too much for your noggin, there's a commentary mode that takes you through the campaign, but with interactive bubbles that trigger commentary tracks. As someone who loves behind the scenes material, it was fascinating to learn some of the tricks they implemented. Fun fact, did you know that these innocuous cubicles are light sources, in addition to making you question where everyone is? It's almost as if GLaDOS killed everyone and their daughter. Portal's presentation is simple with a capital S. The visuals might seem bland, but that's the point. Aperture, like GLaDOS, appears safe and harmless, barring the occasional pit of toxic sludge. Yet that safe space is less than safe when you learn the horrible truth, symbolized by the ride that takes you out of the chamber and into the fire. The graphics have neat little details. If you look closely at the screen before each test chamber, you can see little icons showing which techniques will be used in this room. Because this is adjacent to Half-Life, there's a ton of Easter eggs peppered into its visual and sound design, be it references to Black Mesa or familiar sound effects. The sound is nothing special, save for Ellen McLean as GLaDOS. It's the perfect amount of monotone with a touch of sarcasm that shows she does have some emotion, even if it's not exactly empathy for Chell. I will say though, Still Alive is a bona fide banger.
Black Mesa. That was a joke. Haha. That chance.
Portal is an indie game with a budget. It's got the Gaben seal of approval, but you likely wouldn't know this was a Valve game due to its unassuming appearance and gameplay. There's a reason they included it with a crowbar whacking simulator and a meme shooter though, and it's because Portal is peak. Portal works because it's different, but also because it doesn't outstay its welcome. Finding the perfect runtime is a tricky thing. Some games are too long, several are too short, and very few are just right. Portal hits that sweet spot. It teaches you the joys of portal flinging while ensuring you'll beat it in time for dinner. Portal isn't a one and done type of game. It encourages you to play the game over to improve your performance using your newfound knowledge. Rooms that left you clueless before, you can now solve no problem. Even when you think you've mastered it, you're taken out of your comfort zone and use what you learned to escape.
We are pleased that you made it through the final challenge where we pretended we were going to murder you.
The story is slim, but its darkly humorous writing and general eeriness give this shallow premise depth. Now how does it compare to Portal 2? That I can't say. What I will say is while I enjoyed Portal 2's grander scope, I prefer Portal's creepy, confined, less is more approach. Does this mean I prefer the first game over the second? Again, you'll have to wait and see. I'm just glad I finally played Portal and more importantly, I loved it. Portal gets a 9 out of 10.